Hey guys, welcome to the Against the Grain podcast. Today we have
Awesome.
And Evan.
all right, and we're going to be talking about relationships today and how relationships are a part of our culture, especially in high school. And these guys have some wisdom, people, and I would love to have them share it with us. So, my first question is, at what point do you think somebody is ready to date?
So I'll get started. First off, I want to just say, Ash and I grew up in this youth group. It's been well over a decade now since we both graduated here and stuff like that. But we grew up in this church. For high schoolers, so when you're ready to date, I would almost say if you see marriage in the near future. So I think our culture has changed a little bit. Like my grandparents got married right after high school sweethearts at 19. Me, I was in my later 20s. So it's I want to say you're ready to date once you're can see actually getting married. I feel like our culture's really the youngest I've one of my friends got married was 22. It's are you ready to start dating at 17 then if you're not going to get married till 22? But obviously there's some exceptions and stuff like that. Got anything to say?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think you want to be in position where you can get married shortly thereafter just because, we're talking to believers right now, Christians. And God calls us to purity and he calls us to good boundaries like with physical stuff and it's only going to make it harder if we're dating for a really long period of time and we don't see marriage in a near-ish future. And like Evan said, there are exceptions and 3 years, maybe you're 17 and maybe you'll get married at 22. Maybe that's doable for you, but it's going to be challenging and you're going to have to put some really good healthy boundaries
Yeah.
in place for something like that. um yeah, and the other thing I like to just quote other people because they're just so smart. But I love Jonathan Pokluda. He's a pastor in Texas, and he said, "You want to be healed and you want to be whole," and that's super important. Yeah, just on your personal journey to make sure you're in a really healthy place so that you are bringing your whole healthy self to another person, not a broken, piece or mess for someone to have to really struggle through helping Nicole again. So,
Wow, that was really pristine. I wasn't expecting that. Was really cool. Next question. What does a healthy dating relationship look like?
Yeah. So if you're 40 and dating and if you're 18 and dating, it's you want to be around friends. Like friends, family are around you. Um I the thing is we've all seen a I don't know. I've had friends that I'm "Ooh, I'm not sure if they are gonna make it when they get married." And those are the people that are isolating themselves.
Hmm.
They're the people not around their friends. But the healthy relationships where I'm oh, every friend's yeah, they're gonna make it, they're gonna do good. They're the ones always around their friends and family and allowing them to actually speak into their lives. So that is in my mind one of the most important things. Um Obviously, as we're talking to believers and stuff, it's you don't want to be unequally yoked. You want someone that's actually building their own faith, someone that's actually pursuing the Lord. It's not something oh, I'll go to church with you, but I don't go to church any other time, stuff like that. Is there anything you?
can you repeat the question?
What would you say a healthy dating relationship is like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he nailed it. But yeah, it should look like you're pursuing the Lord just like you do when you're on your own, but now you're coming together and still pursuing the Lord. Sometimes together, still pursuing on your own though. Um, yeah, I think
I
yeah,
got something.
go for it.
And then another thing is just healthy physical boundaries. So it's obviously, it's very hard to cross physical boundaries when you're around your friends and family.
Yeah.
But just being able to set up those physical boundaries that actually are honoring to God and not cross those is a very big thing when in a relationship too.
Hmm,
Yeah, and I just wanna, like, emphasize, I think you said this, but, um, staying in community and not isolating it. It's really easy when you start to date to be like, "Ooh," like, all lovey-dovey and wanna be together, and then you pull away from community, and that pulls you further from the Lord. Community is what's gonna help keep you accountable, and, yeah, and it's just gonna make everything better.
that's really cool.
Mhm.
Would you say it's important to be friends first?
Yeah, I think so. Evan and I were just talking about this in the car. We weren't exactly in the same position. We had like a kind of a different situation. We were set up
Oh, yeah.
with the intention to date, but we also were set up by really good friends who we knew their character. They knew us really well. And so it felt like, honestly, we really felt very, like, friend-like quite early in our dating relationship, so we felt like friends because our friends knew us and we had similar background, upbringing, so yeah. Add to that?
Yeah. So why it's important to be friends is so you actually know the person. Like you
Mm,
actually want to know how their character is, how they interact, stuff like that. And although Ash and I were set up on a blind date the very first time, it's like, okay, the people that set us up were like very trustworthy people that I was like, all right. If they're like calling me and being like, hey, Evan, I got a girl for you. I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. It's not like Joe Schmo was calling me up and was like, hey, I just bumped into this woman. I think you might hit it off well. It's not like that. It was like, okay. And then it was like, as we were dating, at first it was like, okay, where is Ashley's character at? Is it actually good? So it was like very early on, those were the things that we were looking for, you know?
yeah, that's really cool. Um, what are some red flags students should pay attention to when they're dating?
Yeah. Um, you want to start?
Yeah. So, mine's obviously gonna be, like, more towards a girl perspective, but I do wanna preface this by saying I was married before I got married to Evan, and, the big thing I would say for young women is anger. If you see anger in a young man, it's like, run. And, and in conjunction with that is, you know, some people will say, I'm healed and whole from this XYZ, whatever, anger, an addiction, whatever, I'm healed from this, but you want to also see the actions to back that up. Like, don't just listen to the words that people are saying to you. You got to see that they're, actually following through and you can see that they're a changed person. And other things too is you don't this seems like really no brainer, but like you get into these situations and you don't even realize. But, you want to not be afraid of the person that you're with, and you want to not be confused. Confusion, like, if you're feeling confused about, like, "Man, they're always misunderstanding me," or "They're always saying I'm doing this and I'm not doing that," or I feel so confused, like, that interaction didn't go the way I thought it would. It was like I felt like, you know, those kind of things, like, where you're yeah, just constantly in a state of confusion is
Mhm.
is a big deal. Uh, so, yeah, those are, like, my little thoughts.
Yeah. So I wrote down some notes. I was checking my phone,
Okay.
but um, obviously we already talked about this, but being unevenly yoked. So it's like, how does this person pursue God? Like that is like the biggest red flag if they're only coming to church with you. If their faith is like built on your faith, they need to have like their own faith, own relationship with God, go with God. So that's one thing. Ash hit anger and, just overly emotional. Um, just and I'm not saying they can't get better at that, but, like, you're not the person to make them better at it.
Right.
They need to get better at that on their own. They're not ready to date. Um, another thing on the list is boundaries. Like, if someone's actually pushing you to cross physical boundaries that you know God set up. It's like, "No, these are the things that I don't want you to do before you're married." If they're pushing you past that, that's like a big red flag. They are not repentant or have a fear of God in that moment. Uh, Another thing I'm thinking about, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but, um, is, like, we've talked about character. Do they have a habitual sin in their life? Do they constantly are looking at pornography or having other issues? Maybe they're drinking and smoking constantly, and you're just like, "Oh, I think they're gonna get better at this," or but, like, what are they allowing in their life? Another thing I'm thinking about is, like, someone who is just lying constantly, like, someone who is not honest all the time, like, those are the people it's like, why are you, like, giving them any more time in your life? If they're not being honest with you now, like, when you're married, it's gonna be even worse.
Right.
You don't want the whole point of this conversation is, like, dating is to set you up to have a great marriage. Like, it's not something where it's like, "Oh, I wanna be able to explain away these couple things just because I wanna be married." It's like, no, you wanna find the right person. Ash can say this, but, like, the worst what's worse than being single is wishing you were, wishing that, basically you were single, like, you're dating the wrong person, you're married
Mm.
to the wrong person.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I would just, piggyback on top of that is like, yeah, don't rush. Do not rush. I mean, you can get to a point where you're like, you know, getting older and especially in this culture in this day and age, people do get married later and you're gonna feel the the kind of wrongness in that. You're gonna feel like, man, I wish I was doing life with my person. Because God did create us to have a partner. Most of us, you know. And so yeah, don't rush. I think Ariana asked a question, like, what do you do if you're feeling like lonely and you want to rush into something or you want to get into something? And yeah, just be okay with being alone for a period of time and just wait. God has a person. Man, if I knew that Evan was out there and was going to be my person, and if God was like, hey, at 36, you're going to meet your husband, he's going to be incredible, he's going to love and honor me, and he's going to love and honor and cherish you, I would have like never gone on a single date with anyone else. I would have been like, it's me and Jesus until this guy comes along, and then it's us three together, So yeah, that's my little 2
Yeah.
cents.
I feel like that was really wise what you said originally, about anger. I remember walking a friend through a difficult relationship, and she was dating a guy who would just get really angry about like
Mm.
even the little things. And like sometimes I'd just be on like a call with her, and then she'd just see like the fruit of that, and it was just like not a lot of like understanding, just like where it was. And I was like, no, that's not like something you should just let slide. So and what you were saying about like, how you can't have somebody else's, belief in God, like, when it's stacked on top of yours. Like, if they're a tree and their relationships and their life and their religion as who God is growing, like, if you're standing there watering them, putting the sun in front of I don't know how you do that, but, like, if you're the person, constantly feeding into the relationship, and then you go away, and then they're just stuck there, like, it's not gonna be, like they're just gonna search for where the watering can was, and they're not gonna have it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why the unequally yoked thing is just like it's so we keep coming back to it because it's so important, and I've seen the destructiveness of not being equally yoked, and I see the beauty of being equally yoked in my marriage with Evan. So, yeah, um definitely you want to make sure that yeah, that person is also seeking God at least like a similar paces you because I will say the person that I was married to before was in church. I met them through church, but they weren't following Jesus. They weren't following his principles. Their actions weren't following him, Like he was sitting in the church though. He was so it's not even about that. And so many young people I've heard, they'll be like, "Oh, I met a guy and he's cute and he's really nice and he treats me well." And I invited him to church and I'm like, okay, like, yeah, you're gonna invite him to church and hopefully, yes, hopefully he becomes a believer and knows the Lord. But then he's a baby Christian and you're this, especially as a
Yeah.
woman. You're like you want your man to be a leader. So, if you're the one that's more mature in your faith, it's going to feel out of balance from God's principles of like having that man be the leader and the spiritual head. Yeah, so like, it seems like it's gonna work out, but you never know what's gonna come down the road um with that spiritual unevenness. And even if they come to church with you, it doesn't mean that they're going to end up following and walking with the Lord. And then you're kind of uniting yourself. Like dating is it's a newer thing, but you're kind of uniting yourself with a person and you're gonna feel like a brokenness if and when you do have to separate from that person. So did you have something you want to say?
I was just gonna share your grandfather's story.
Yeah, yeah. So, this is a great story to talk about unequal yoked moments too, or marriage. My grandmother married my grandfather. My grandmother was Protestant. My grandfather was Catholic,
Mm.
and my grandmother, I think, was a little more like she would go to church every Sunday, and I think my grandfather was just kind of like whatever, like here and there, maybe Easter, Christmas, stuff like that, and maybe a couple other things in between, but when her kids got old enough she started to get them ready for church one time. And she was like going to go out the door. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Well, I'm taking them to church with me." And he was like, "They're Catholic. They are not going to your church." And so that was like a big shock for her. And it's just Catholic and Protestant, it doesn't even seem that far, but like there really are differences. And yeah, it can come down to even affecting your children and how you wanna raise them
Mm.
and how you want your children to know the Lord, so it's so important, and I know, like, we're young and we're like, "Oh, I just want my person," and you're just like, "Maybe it'll work," and you're justifying all kinds of things, but
Yeah.
think down the road further. It's really important, so
Yeah. I heard an analogy once where, like, if you're here and another person's here and you guys is like, beliefs aren't aligned, you'll go everywhere. Like, there's an endless amount of possibilities, like you were saying about your grandmother, like, people's beliefs don't align, but if you're here and your partner's here and you guys both have a core belief system in God, you'll naturally just,
yeah, keep coming together.
yeah, keep
Love
coming
that.
together in Christ. So I was like, "That was really cool." I have no idea where heard that from. It's probably somewhere around here, some person spoke downstairs, but
It's a
I
good
thought
one, I
that
like it.
was probably what I have one do I have 2 more questions. Um, what does it look like to honor God while dating? You guys already touched on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, okay.
We touched on it a lot, but it and like just bring your friends, your family around. I I heard this before is like we wanna this church wants to have the people getting married in it or just makes sense. So it's like like those 2, they just make sense when they get married. Like everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that just makes sense." It's not like, I'm not sure about this," but like when they come together, their whole family, all 100 and whatever that come to your wedding is like, that just makes sense. They are great together. So, but so it's just like getting those people around you,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah, sorry, it's what is a healthy
What does a healthy relationship look like in
dating?
dating? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Um
Yeah, one more thing.
Oh,
There
you
you
know,
go. You got it.
okay. Yeah, no, I was just we're really, like, driving home the community thing, and it is really important too, and I will say, like, that is a huge difference between my first marriage and my marriage with Evan too, is that I was, far from my family and community. I was living in LA by myself, and no one was really around to get to know that person, and the people that I had out there were newer friends. The community was very, like out there, it's different. I don't love LA, sorry, if you do. But, I just feel like people are very, like, self-focused, and there wasn't a lot of really good community too, and the people that knew me didn't know me long. So, you know, yeah, and I think if I had been around my family, my friends, my community, my church community here, I think things would have been different, so
Hmm.
Yeah. I felt like we talked about like what makes a relationship bad a lot. Maybe we could speak on like what characters values or characteristics of a person you should actually pursue. And it's like it really comes down to the fruit of the spirit.
Mhm.
Like, do you actually see the joy of the Lord in them? Do they actually treat you with kindness, patience, loving, self-control? Of course, I'm on the spot and I'm forgetting the rest of them.
gentleness. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control.
But, like, really, like, I know it sounds, like, easy to say, but, like, if that person actually has that, that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you can actually have a good marriage and be set up to, live forever. I wanna say one more thing just for the guys. This relates to the girls a lot, but, too, but I used to pray when I was younger, "I really want a pretty wife, Lord." I definitely got that. He definitely answered that prayer. But I'm also like, we wanna be married when we're 80, 90 years old, and to be honest, we're gonna be old and wrinkly and not good looking then, and the character is what gets you there. Like, it's not their good
Yeah.
looks, and I remember praying for a beautiful wife, and at a certain point when I was in my early 20s, it changed from, "God, would you give me a beautiful wife," to, "God, would you make me attracted to what you're attracted to?" Like, what are the things that you are actually attracted to? Would you change my heart to actually wanna pursue that? And I do feel like that's when the Holy Spirit started to be like, "Yes, we're gonna pursue the fruits of the Spirit." I don't know. That was just, like, something that came up in my mind.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and to add to that, I like going down this path of, like, what's good, because you can warn people and all that stuff, but yeah, having fun, like, joy, like, that is so important, like, being friends is a good thing, you may or may not be friends beforehand like us, but we are friends now, like, he is my best friend, it is so fun when we're together, like, we're just, you know, we make each other laugh all the time, um, yeah, and he's a person I feel, like, completely safe with. That's something you want to, you want to feel like your man is for a woman or for a girl, you wanna feel like your guy is safe, and can protect you and is strong, like, you wanna feel like you can, yeah, rest in that relationship in peace. Yeah.
Yeah. Here,
So, the question was, what does it look like to serve as a couple together, right? Yeah, and that's so funny because I always watched my parents serving in church, sometimes together, sometimes separate. But I think Evan, one of the things he said when we were first dating is that he really wanted to serve together in church. Um, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure you said you wanted us to serve in a similar ministry together, and, um and I had been feeling God for, like, years put on my heart youth, 'cause I teach voice lessons, and I'm with a lot of young people, and spending time with young people, I was just seeing, like, the hurt in your generation, like, there's a lot of, like, weight in especially what's going on in culture, but also just, like, wanted young people to know Jesus, so, I had kind of a heart for youth, and I said to him he more had a heart I think even for young adult ministry was his, thing, but I said, "Hey, what about youth?" And, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And, it was when we were engaged that we started with youth ministry, and now we're here, like, 3 years later. It's
very,
crazy. This
very
is our 3-year
happy.
anniversary probably coming up in April. Did you wanna say anything?
Yeah, no. I I think there's a healthy thing with serving is like, okay, I always wanna be serving, is like, how do I put someone else's need in front of my own? And, like, that's important with marriage as well, and dating is like, how do I see this person serving? Are they actually, like, giving it their all? Are they actually, like, going to put someone else's needs above their own? And I think that's very important with serving, and that happens with youth group. I mean, Ash gets texts from girls throughout the night. I feel like the guys are less like that. But it's been so fun, and it's also like it opens up a different side of you when you're when you're dating. It's like, oh, I get to see this side a little bit more, and just to, as we said, it's like see a little bit more of the character and stuff when you're dating. Like that's the point of it, and that's one way is like serving in church. Maybe it doesn't have to be youth group. It could be parking, or it could be greeting, or it could be Journeyland, or I guess it's J Kids, stuff like that.
Yeah, and to add to that, I personally have felt like my faith has grown in serving, and specifically in this area, like, cause you just you want to make sure that, like, hey, am I actually instilling biblical truths into these young people? So that like made me want to dive into my personal relationship even deeper. So yeah, it's really cool how you personally will grow spiritually when you serve as well. So
Yeah. If you guys could sum up, like, most of what we talked about and, like, honoring God in relationships and just having, like, a healthy relationship in just, like, one quote or phrase, what would it be?
yeah, you go first.
So I was kind of getting to it. Um,
Okay.
it's self-sacrifice.
Self
It's like if you are actually like the whole point of marriage is being like, w- how can I be like Jesus, who was the ultimate self-sacrifice? It's like
sacrifice.
sacrifice, the ultimate self. Nah, keep that in there. The ultimate self-sacrifice. Like he died on the cross for us, and like as a man, like when you read Ephesians and what Paul says about marriage is like you want to be like Christ. You want to be self-sacrificing. You want to put her needs over my needs. And like that is something we're trying to like show to the whole world, and that's something that we can show through our marriage. No one wants to be married to someone who's selfish either. You want to be
Yeah.
married to someone who's actually like pursuing something greater, pursuing my wife, pursuing Jesus, like the like putting my needs lower and putting her needs above mine.
Yeah. Like, greater man has no love than this than to lay down his life for his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're never gonna have a problem if both people are equally trying to outserve each other.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. So
No, I'll do the laundry. No, I'll do the laundry.
A lot of times people this is more marriage than dating at this point, but we went through marriage counseling and the number one thing people hear is like 50-50 relationships. She does half, I do half.
Hmm.
But the better balance is 100. So like
Ooh.
I'm going to do my portion, my thing, no matter where Ashley's at. Like I'm going to try to do everything I possibly can. And there are times where I'm only going to be able to give 1% where I'm in a rough spot and Ash is going to do 100%. It's just like how do I put the other person's needs above my own? That's like a big, big thing when it comes to marriage.
That's really cool. You guys have anything else before we wrap up?
No, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks you guys for joining us. Youth groups at 6:30, 8:30. You guys can come out to that. Thanks for joining us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go.